In addition, we will hold a quiz. Thank you. The winners will receive gifts from us. I would like to introduce our speakers. It's Ksenia Matsenko, channel account manager from Trellix, Ivan Yakovlev, sales engineer from Trellix, our senior cybersecurity specialist Moses. Additionally, I want to mention Garik Margaryan, Georgi Braladze, and Anita Martirosyan from our Softprom team. If you have some questions, please you can send in the chat. So I pass the word to Ksenia. Ksenia, you move. Thank you.
Okay. Dear colleagues, hello. Nice to see and meet you online today. As Eugene said, my name is Ksenia Matsenko. I'm channel manager and responsible for relationships with distributors and partners in our region, as well as marketing. Previous time we had Aizada, our regional manager. Today I'm happy to open our second session of, it's not like a webinar, even of workshops, let's say like this. And we hope to meet you next time, next Tuesday, with our last session from this year. So we hope to have more next year. Rules. We put, please, all questions in Q&A section, so our colleagues will be able to answer them easily. We will record this webinar and you will have access to the record. And also, please be attentive because we will have some quiz, some questions for you, and we will give some nice answers to people who will be faster and correct, of course. So please be attentive, and I think that we can move. Ivan, you're my DJ today. I know that you already saw these slides like many times, but this year is extremely important for us with rebranding, moving from well-known names as McAfee and FireEye to not so well-known name on the market as Trellix. So that is why till at least 31st of January, we have to show this slide to anyone, everywhere. So you see this again. Sorry for those who see this again, but for those who see this first time, I just want to remind you that we had a huge and important for us change this year. We moved our consumer business from McAfee Enterprise to McAfee, and that red logo, Ivan, if you can move with logos, you will see still on your laptops. This vendor still exists. We merged with FireEye business. McAfee Enterprise merged with FireEye business to Trellix. This is new brand name, and we represent Trellix today here. And also we separated from McAfee Enterprise cloud security based product lines to Sky High Security. So this logo you will also see on the market, and this is part of McAfee Enterprise business that is focused on, let's say SSE architecture. So these three logos, they exist. You will see them further, and no McAfee Enterprise and no FireEye anymore. This is our legacy. What is important here, and what for me is important, I would say like this: before in McAfee, if you remember, we had a slogan like "Better together is power." Together is power. In our new company in Trellix, we have slogan "Better Together." So I'm really happy that we still have this together in the core. We as a company, we committed that only as one team, together with our customers, together with our partners, distributors, and even with other vendors with whom we integrate our solutions, we can defend from all current and future cybersecurity threats. I think this is very important, this commitment from us to you. And the world changed a lot, and we have so many threats now. It became very complex. And Ivan, let's move. And you know this, yes, you know, through recent changes as war, as COVID, we had different landscape. But I think that your needs as customers and partners, they remain pretty the same. You just want to be secured, you just want to sleep well, you just want to be to understand what's going on inside your environment, to be protected, to pay salaries to your team. So to align this new complexity with your needs, needs, we created this new brand Trellix, and we move in our brand Trellix to XDR architecture, to architecture that is going to help you to be protected from all this current environment. We put in a XDR architecture. XDR is very fancy word, let's say like this. For us, this is not a part number, this is not a product, this is architecture of our solutions, of course, on top with some XDR console. But we put in this XDR architecture the principles of three main area. This is endpoint security, and we talked about these solutions on our previous webinar. You should have the record. This is data protection, and we will talk about this area on our next webinar next Tuesday. And today we are talking about EDR and Envision Insights as an important part of security operation area. Also, please do not forget that we have like small pieces and puzzles of this EDR architecture, but they are still very important, as email protection that we got from FireEye, network protection, I mean IPS, I mean sandboxes, cloud protection, etc. So all these pieces, they are also inside our portfolio, and if you will need some additional information about them, please reach us separately. So from this, let's start with marketing slides. They are beautiful. Let's stop with them, and let's move to the topic of our today webinar. Ivan, password to you.
Thank you, Ksenia. Yeah, that's exactly where we're going, and I think we will, at the very end, add few things on top of what has been said about XDR and what would be a next step for us. Because yes, it's quite important to understand what would be kind of a global strategy for our company in general. And for today, we have quite an important part of it. So that's basically EDR story, right? So how security operations work, what are foundation stones, how to build it up, and what processes should be in place, right? And that would be myself, Ivan Yakovlev, Trellix sales engineer. I'm working in the whole EMEA region, which is quite big region, but yeah, a lot of interesting things happening around. And also we have Moses, who is also with us today from Softprom pre-sales team. So yeah, he'll be also helping me with questions, hopefully, in the chat. But yeah, if you can, so it's much better to put your questions in a Q&A session. But yeah, you can put it in chat as well. If it's not a question you want us to follow up, but maybe a comment or something like that. So yeah, anyway, yeah, we're happy for any kind of interaction. And of course, we have a beautiful agenda for today. We have around hour and a half. Let's aim for that. It can take longer. Let's see. We have quite a lot of interesting concepts to discuss today. So what we've done so far is welcome speech. Thank you, Ksenia, again. Yeah, so then we're going to talk about the solution in general and how it works in SOC area in security operations in general. So then we're going to touch architecture of our EDR. And then we're going to follow up with some examples and use cases, how to continue with it, how to build it better, how to build it up. And then we're going to see the actual demo environment, the live environment in my lab. And then a bit about strategy and where we're going for, how to make it even better, right? So that would be kind of our conclusion of a day. But the most important part, of course, is the quiz. So we have it at the very end. So please stick with us until the very end. Hopefully it's not the very end, but yeah, that's the end of our session today. So yeah, let's start with it. I hope it's clear so far. Yeah, if you have any comments, yeah, let us know. If something is wrong with voice or if something else is happening. Hopefully I'll have no downtimes today, but yeah, if I would have some, so yeah, please just wait for hopefully a few minutes. I'll get my connectivity back. So yeah, let's continue. So let's talk about the solution in general, right? And when we talk about EDR, we just have to mention security operations, right? So here you have a beautiful picture of our own internal Trellix SOC, right? So I have it basically next door from me. So what does it mean, right? So what does it mean? How it's related to security? And just looking on the definition, it's a centralized function within any organization employing people, processes, and technology to continuously monitor and improve organization security posture while preventing, detecting, analyzing, and responding to cybersecurity incidents. So basically, it's SOC, right? It's like a central hub that is basically doing the collecting data, collecting telemetry information across different IT infrastructure, across security systems, across network devices, appliances, whatever is possible, basically, to get this data and then analyze this, right? So SOC is essentially correlating data between different systems, between security platforms, between IT infrastructure systems, and then they're monitoring this information. And then for each of these events, security analytic must decide so how to react, right? What to do? Is it okay situation? How to improve it? Or if it's just a noise, maybe, right? So we can just ignore it without any further actions. But also it's important to be able to improve your processes, improve your tools, improve everything that you have in place to see as much as possible, to get a better visibility, right? Because it's essential, right? If you don't see things, you just you can't really do anything on top of it. You have no data, you have no meaningful information. You can do actions, and actions is critical to have, right? It's critical to be to get tools to actually implement what you saw, right? And also it's quite important to have a good analytic tools to understand what you see, right? How to react to it, and then to understand what would be the reaction. You need to understand as much as possible to investigate further, to run a triage, to get a better scope of an incident, because yeah, it could be quite severe situation, but there is also always should be a place for a more severe situations, right? To figure out what would be even worst case scenario for any case of any incident you have. So it's kind of must-haves tools for security operations in general, and for SOC in particular. And then what about some key functions to be performed? So basically what we see is it's built from multiple pieces, but the most important part is ability to collect data from different data sources, to ingest this information, to consume it in some way or shape or form, and then understand what does it mean, what this information is about, right? So that's usually about some type of alarms or rules that will be triggering in some specific cases if some type of malicious activity is seen or suspicious even. And then it should be always up and running, right? It should be continuous monitoring, 24 hours, 7 days per week, and 365 days per year, right? So that's it should be done always, right? It's also about processes, it's about people, how to build it up, right? What would be a scheme of operations, and what is the best way to go for your organization in particular. And of course, it could be not a full team. It could be not like 5 teams to cover over the whole globe. It could be maybe even one person who is dedicated to run analysis and to do most of these tasks, right? Even for relatively big organizations, it's still possible with the right tools, with some automatization, maybe with the help of third-party companies, or some third-party analytics, right? Who can be visiting, or who could be also helping in some severe cases. We see different models for that. Also, triage is very important to run. What are priorities, right? What would be a severity rating, right? So if we need to act immediately, or it's something maybe to be improved over time, maybe not immediately now, but still it's not something not to be forgotten and to be put in place. Of course, some log management usually is also important for SOC to get original information, to get raw events. For forensics, for investigation, to understand the actual root cause, right? To understand what happened during that suspicious incident. And then usually it's very critical to also to be able to use threat intelligence, TI, right? And to also interact with different teams, in particular compliance team, also legal teams could be quite important. And all these things, right? It's something you need to figure out how to deal with it. Not when it will happen, but in advance, right? Beforehand. We also have some type of tabletop exercise, right? When we gather with all our analytics from, for example, from professional services, have a session with customer and just discuss what would be scenario if you have this type of situation. What if it will be even worse, right? So how are you going to escalate, right? What would be a path to take in some particular cases? For example, if you see it's not just one detection, but it's 1,000 detections at the same time, right? Do you have enough resources? What would be the way to announce it to a public, right? Can you say it immediately, or should it be like done in a couple of hours, or is it better to not say it at all, which is probably not the best idea, because if this information is going to be leaked in some shape or form, so you may have even worse legal actions if multiple users, if your users are affected by this, right? If users who are you are providing services or your products to. So that's key functions. And what we have as an automated workflow for it, right? So how it looks like, right? So from the first step, so basically the core components would be to get intelligence feeds, right? To put some commercial, maybe government-based feeds and internal feeds that you use internally, maybe from your sandbox environment, when you can use the data just detected in your own environment, get this information and spread it across different platforms to double check, right? What's happening with these indicators of compromise? What's happening with these hashes or like file names? What about the situation you have at the moment? Have you seen this file previously? Is it already in the data you collected, or it's something new? Right? So yeah, is it related to specific attack, to specific malicious campaign potentially, or what to do with it, right? So how to react? So that's kind of very important initial step, right? So that's something we see very beneficial for any type of security operation center for any SOC. Then aggregation of this information it's much better to have it. It's really helpful to get this information pre-analyzed, I would say, right? Because when you just get this information, get this feed into your systems, so in most cases it's just not really good quality of this information, and you need to clean it up. You need to aggregate what is most important to assign a severity rating, right? So yeah, that's also part of this core components, I would say. And then hunt servers is something you can use to analyze, right? Something you can just have internally, maybe as a lab, right? As a malicious environment, potentially malicious environment, when you can just run your scripts, investigate further, maybe have a copy of your machine to dissect, right? To see what's inside, how it's going on internally. Is it something really malicious? Is how this executable is behaving, right? So what's going on? Then EDR is also critical for different things, right? So usually this type of platform is used to get information real time or as fast as possible across different platforms, different endpoint machines that you have in your environment to check, right? So what's going on? Do you have this system affected, and what systems are affected, to basically ask questions to your environment and get results immediately about the situation you have. Also historical searches, so basically search for the data that is collected previously by the same platform or by different tools. So basically that's a forensics tool that you use also for some reactions as well, right? So we see it's same for majority of EDR platforms. So it's used for triaging, it's used to understand the scope of a problem, to get data, meaningful information, and then to have some reactions, to apply these reactions, to run remediation, right? Because EDR is endpoint detection and response, right? So detection and response are quite critical pieces of this. So yeah, I'll cover it a bit further. But yeah, just to mention, and also SIEM, right? SIEM is one of the most critical components of the SOC because it's usually a centerpiece, because you use the system to collect data from variety of different platforms or variety of different systems, because its main purpose of any SIEM to ingest data, ingest telemetry information from a variety of different services, platforms, applications, anything, right, in one place, and then correlate and run analysis, and also keep it, right, keep it for a retention period, because yeah, it can be important maybe after some time to have actual proofs or actual original data coming from that time that you collected this information. So there's kind of important building blocks, right? So that's what we use internally as well in our SOC, which is next door from me this right now. So that's quite critical. It could be different vendors, but of course it's much easier when you can use basically same console, same platform for everything. And what also is important is how to differentiate it from EPP, from endpoint protection platform. This kind of a new term that is used by Gartner. Well, relatively new, right? Because it's not enough with just antivirus, right? So what we see relatively recently is that you need a lot of capabilities to protect your endpoint machines. So let me show you this kind of hierarchy of threats, right? So on the level of endpoint machine, even before the execution, before your file or executable is actually executed or run, right? So you need to double check if it's actually in whitelist, if it's allowed to be executed, right? And it's very fast to do by endpoint protection platform. And in our case, it's called endpoint security or ENS platform. So that's something you want to be able to have as fast as possible, and that's very fast thing to do, right? So whitelisting first, then you can check reputation, which is also your local reputation, right? So how you treat this file internally for your system, for your organization. So if you've seen this file previously, if you have already reputation about it, if you've been used this reputation in different aspects in the organization, and then GTI, which is global reputation. So basically, you can double check with Trellix if Trellix has seen this file previously. So what is reputation? Is it good or bad? What's going on? Then you can also send this file to Sandbox to analyze it separately. In our case, it's not analyzed on the same endpoint machine in a Sandbox, so it's dedicated appliance in your environment. It could be hardware or it could be virtual appliance, which is basically a antivirus lab, right, that you have to run the analysis on, right? So file is very in-depth executed and analyzed there with some code disassembly to look internally what processes are there, what this file is doing, if there's some processes maybe not done at the moment, but maybe waiting for the opportunity to act maybe later. So that's very powerful way to dissect these executables. And then what we have also with endpoint security with our EPP platform, endpoint protection platform, is machine learning capabilities to analyze even before the execution if this file looks suspicious, if some attributes of this file are bad, or if we can actually safely execute it and run it, right? And then we have some way to understand even during the execution or post-execution if it's doing something bad right now, right? And if it does, so then in this case we can remediate, we can roll back changes and see what's actually has been done by it and recover, right? If you remember last time, a week ago, it seems so long ago, but actually it was last week when Moses showed how it works in practice. I think we didn't show you this slide, but it's quite important to understand that you need to go through all these steps, and you are covered from different angles. It could be even different modules of the same endpoint security software, and one of these modules is EDR, right? So you can use this functionality for things that are not obvious, right? So that's for most stealthy threats. You just collect data. You collect a lot of information. We'll cover it a bit later what type of information is collected, but we collect just enormous amount of information about all the processes, all the file operations, all the network connections, even all DNS requests. Everything is collected, right? So we collect a lot of information and keep it for analysis, right? So we use cloud as well to analyze it, because, well, we need much less resources on-prem in this case, nothing to be installed, basically just internally to interact for some internal communications, basically. But yeah, we'll cover this a bit later as well. So how you can use all these modules together is basically run this with Trellix agent and connect it to the security platform in general, right? So it could be different modules. For example, this threat prevention standard module. Also, we have adaptive threat defense module to run this machine learning techniques. So we have also on-prem, not really on-prem, but a personal firewall that is run on the endpoint machine. Then you can also use web control to control what websites users are visiting, and then you can use also local sandbox to analyze this, and also you can connect EDR cloud site to get a better detection and investigation capabilities, and also way to remediate or respond to these malicious actions. And then you can also improve it with Trellix Insights, right, which is additional component of the platform that can be used to predict what's going to happen, right? Because what we do, we collect a lot of information as a Trellix, as a McAfee previously. We had millions, billions of sensors, billions of sources of information about malicious threats, about what's going on in the wild. So we can use this information to predict, are you going to be affected by this? Right? What's going to happen? So basically that's information that is actionable. And this information is basically about the most important threats that are happening right now in your region, in your industry, in your company, right? So that's, we'll cover a bit more, but just very important additional factors that you can use with other security tools is Trellix Insights. So how it's happening, right? So when we look on endpoint, and if you look on the sequence of the attack, so first attack should land in some way, then in most cases it's going to expand its presence and then exfiltrate. So when malicious actors are stealing the data and taking it out of your company, right? And then they, the moment they have it, they can also get some commercial results out of this, maybe sell it on the black market or use it in ransomware attack. So that's up to them from that moment on. But what we can control is these steps, right? So you can control if malware is going to land in your environment, how it's going to expand, is it going to infect other machines in your network, in your environment or not, and if it's going to be exfiltrated out of your environment. And then for the first step, we have this prevent capabilities with endpoint security platform with ENS, Trellix ENS. So we have file-based detection, we have fileless protection as well to control some scripts, some in-memory operations. And we also look on the behavior, and we also use threat intelligence in this analysis. And in some bad cases, we can also roll back if something has been done already, if some malicious actions have been taken, and then we can also apply some security controls to block, right, some network communications or some web connections, right? So that's kind of part of the prevention step. And then when you look on how it's going to expand, right, how it's going to use lateral movement, so we have these detection capabilities with EDR, and also, of course, other tools can be used, but here on the endpoint, we kind of a bit limited, but we see quite a lot of things, right, especially with EDR. So we can use machine learning detections, and also we can just keep this data for historical threat hunting, and then after we notice something is going not right, we can start a guided investigation. Guided means we're helping you, right? We're helping you to understand how bad the situation is, right? And then on the later stage, for the response actions, of course, we can do a lot with different tools, even with endpoint protection platform, with EDR platform, but SIEM is really great to actually respond to this type of operations. And it could be SIEM from Trellix, it can be different type of SIEM, or it could be even orchestration platform, it could be part of SOAR capabilities, when we just collect data, understand what's been collected, and then actually request this file to be sent to analytic to understand it even further, and then remediate this host, maybe even recover it from a template. So a variety of scripts can be used, variety of tools can be also applied here. But yeah, it's at the stage when you already have data exfiltrated. It could be a bit too late, but still you need to know. You need to know, even if it's too late, if it was a really sophisticated attack, if nothing triggered, if nothing show, right, that you have a bad situation. Still, in those cases, when it's maybe seen a bit too late, still, right, still you need to maybe after the fact collect information and run forensics to understand what actually happened, right? Maybe with your own tools, or maybe with tools from someone who is helping you to analyze this. But it's still critical to have this as fast as possible in advance, maybe even immediately after, but still it's much better to have. Okay, do we have any questions so far before we go for architecture of this? No, I don't see anything. Okay, that's fine. Let's continue with.
Yeah, it's very clear, man.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you, thank you. Maybe it will go worse, who knows? So let's continue with architecture. So what we basically do here, we collect data. We collect a lot of information with EDR. So we collect it from endpoint machines, and it could be Windows-based or Linux-based or even macOS. So we collect this data and we send it in compressed way to a cloud, right? Because in cloud, we have a lot of resources available. You don't need to install like hundreds of CPU cores, virtual machines on-prem, because basically everything that is about machine learning, it requires a lot of resources, right? So to be able to run this analytics efficiently, right, we have it already done for you in the cloud, in Trellix Cloud. So basically, it's a service that you can use to run this analytics. And actually, it's analytics based on the data that we see from your organization, but also from our different customers. Of course, we tune our rules all the time, right? And also we see on the behavior. So how good is your situation, or how it deviates, right? If there's some deviation from the normal, we can also kind of highlight it to you. So if it's anomaly, if we haven't seen this type of actions before, but now it's happening, so yeah, we can also raise the severity and make it visible to you. Then when this analysis is being run, right? So what we can do, we can run threat hunting, right? So analytic that is using EDR workspace can actively ask the environment, ask the same machine or other machines in your environment what is there, what's happening, right? What processes are executed, are running, what operations are there, what about files, right? If they're still persist in your machine or it's already deleted, right? Because even if file is deleted, still threat hunting will answer this question. And then we have also ratings with severity for variety of threats. So we can raise an alert. We can send a high severity alert immediately to you, or if you need to double check, if you don't have enough confidence in it, you can run other threat hunting tools. But what you can do here, you can respond, and we have a variety of things you can do, but the most powerful would be network isolation. So you can send a command to an endpoint machine and say, just put it to quarantine, the whole machine. So it can't talk to any neighbors in the environment. So no network communication would be possible, right? Even if you try to, ping something, it would be blocked. So only communications with our management platform would be possible when you send this type of a command. So that's in some cases it could be too much. So of course, just have it can be done only by analytic. So we don't rely on machines to understand how dangerous it is. Because if it's definitely dangerous, we block it first with EPP, with Endpoint Protection Platform, which could be Trellix INS or something else. But still, we block it first with EPP platform, and then we just analyze everything else with EDR. So also, the more tools could be used to validate. So what we have in our system is so-called investigator engine, right? Investigation engine that is used to help you with actual investigation. So the moment you create this investigation itself, right? So we collect a lot of information that can be related to the incident, and then run our artificial intelligence to give you clues what could be actual situation, why it's happening, and why we think it's bad, right? So we basically answer some questions in advance, right, before you do, to help you, right? So we use quite a lot of resources, but it's kind of transparent for you. It's running on our cloud, so you won't really see it. It's not done immediately. It may take like 10-15 minutes to run, but then after we have it done, you'll see a lot of details. I'll show it further, but it's enormous amount of information that you can use in your analytic. And then also you can ask for more information. You can get extra data from Trellix SIEM or from our colleagues to have this, because usually that's we send this information to SIEM, but for your analysis, we can also ask SIEMs, different type of SIEM platform, to get more visibility for us, to pull more information from the systems, to be able to go even further with this. And then, of course, you can gather more information by these requests. You can assess what's going on and get a better scoping of what's going on. And of course, response actions are also available from investigation. So yeah, as a summary, right? So we send information to EDR, and then look on the behavior, look on the files, on the fileless type of situations that are maybe run in the memory. We see on the prevalence, so how bad it is. And also we use, of course, MITRE attack framework to make it easier for you to map accordingly and see what steps of attack are going on or what techniques are used, right? So it's basically same language most of the SOC tools are talking right now. So it's really better to get it. So how it could be deployed? So we have basically two ways, right? So we have this EDR platform. So our name for it is still Envision EDR, but most likely this brand name will disappear after some time. So it will be Trellix EDR or something like that. So Envision is still kind of the same platform name, and then you can use Envision EPO with it, right? So basically there are two ways. So we can use our cloud version of EPO, SaaS-based, so basically a service of EPU to integrate with Envision EDR to have a kind of fully cloud-based, cloud-native platform. Or, right, as an alternative, you can use on-prem EPO, and with a few extensions you can install in EPO to also add this functionality. So then you can use EPO to distribute your software on top of the same agent that is also already deployed if you use anything from McAfee or Trellix M. So you can use either of them, fully cloud-based or your on-prem system, to talk to your talk to your endpoint machines and get data from them and to them, right? Send reactions, send additional queries, ask these machines what's going on. A bit of information about how it's happening in case of on-premise e-policy orchestrator, our management platform, and we were talking about it a lot last time. So what we have here is customer's environment, customer's on-prem infrastructure. So you have a policy orchestrator here in the kind of central of it, and then you have EDR workspace, which is always cloud-based, right? So the data that we collect from endpoint machine is trace information. This trace data is collected over our DXL protocol. So we need DXL broker to be able to communicate with your endpoint machines. So yeah, that's an essential component that is always needed in case of this architecture. So we use it to actually execute search tools, search commands, and also collect trace information. So you can decide also if you want your endpoint machines to talk directly to the cloud, but in most cases, this direct communications is done for snapshot, and snapshot is basically kind of request that we send to a machine to send even more information to an investigation, right? So when you run an investigation, you can request for a snapshot to get more information, or it could be a snapshot maybe from a machine that is not covered by our EDR. If you don't have EDR client installed to the machine, you can still request the snapshot. It can be done manually, or you can do it after the fact to actually collect much more information, kind of high-level information and quite in-depth information about the endpoint machine. It's not a VM, right? It's not VM snapshot, but kind of similar to that. We just collect one time a lot of information and add it to investigation, right? So we can have it directly. We can use it, send it over alternative paths, right? So we can use EPO to that. So you can choose, right, if your client machines would be talking to EPO, or if they can send some information straight up, right? We have some list here of ports, right, that are used for it. But yeah, in most cases, it's 443 that is used for communications with EPO and agent handler in specific, right, as a critical part of EPO. But in the second case, right, when you have a fully cloud-based system, Envision EDR, Envision EPO, so everything is done directly, right? So you communicate directly with the cloud. Yeah, so that's a bit more straightforward, of course, but it depends if you can use it or not. It's really up to your environment if it's possible to use, or if you have some complications to use cloud. It's much easier, and from feature perspective, it's pretty much same. There are a few features that may be missing in the cloud, actually, in fully cloud system. So, for example, this integration with SIEM can be done only with on-prem EPO and on-prem communications, when we can integrate your on-prem SIEM usually with this platform. But the other way would be to integrate Envision EPO directly with your SIEM. If you have some maybe cloud-based SIEM, or you can use our market space on Envision EPO to integrate with different systems. Yeah, but yeah, it's just one of the options you have. So a bit more details how exactly real-time search is working. So what we do, we use something called collectors, right? So you can also add your own custom collectors, but we have some quite powerful collectors already pre-built to collect this type of information, right? You can see it's all the processes that executed on the machine. It's API information. And for example, it could be WMI requests in terms of Windows. It could be browser history, registry key changes, file changes, all the hash information, network communications, service change events, all the user logon events, and some kernel data from Linux. So that's what we keep on the client machine, right? When we send a buffer, when we send a request to that from a buffer, we use this information first of all, right? So there are a number of built-in collectors to just get this, how we call it, ring buffer data. So that's basically when we run a real-time search. So this information is used immediately, pretty much. So we just keep this information available all the time for interactions, right? So it's done by a poll DXL, right? So that's quite frequently done. So your local cloud gateways are asked for it. So yeah, in terms of some information you really need, you will have it pretty much in real time, right? So that's how it's executed. How exactly that's done, right? So we have some good examples. And first of all, we have a good collection on the GitHub, right? So we can find this GitHub, or I can actually copy it into chat so you can have it. Let me find, so GitHub, it's, of course, it's publicly available for everyone. GitHub, okay, so we have these examples. Here it is. So yeah, that's McAfee Enterprise site of GitHub. You can Google it, or I can put this link to a chat. So here you have a nice description of what we have here, what type of queries or comments we have here. But most of the different types of it are threat hunting oriented or orientation, right? To figure out what registry are there, what processes, basically to ask systems about some type of software that is running, maybe some patches that you want to double check if they're persistent on a machine or not, right? So you can double check using this command what software versions are running there, what programs, or you can sort it also by many programs at once or by a single one, right? For example, this command could be used to understand what versions of Zoom, right, that we're using right now are used, and so on, right? So we have a variety of things to ask for, right? And that's called orientation that you can use, for example, to ask for scheduled tasks and so on, right? So some examples. So to ask if on login type we have a password assigned, or maybe there is no assigned password, which is suspicious, and so on, right? If interactive token is used for this login, and so on, right? So a lot of questions you can double check, right, if you have a suspicion. And then we have some also good threat hunting examples here for governments, for indicators, and also for some SANS-based commands. For governments, you can see compliance software you can use, right? So, for example, you can discover number of systems and versions on the targeted of the target software. So we can ask if you have on the specific machine or on many machines Zoom, right? And you can see some details about it, right? What versions is used, what publisher, and what its install date, right? So when it was installed. So yeah, we have some really good examples there on the GitHub. So if you want to go further, it's a really good way to start from. And yeah, let's see of some of them. So for example, we have this use case of data collection, and we have some good built-in collectors, as I mentioned, right? So we can use this command line tool to get information about any command lines. So you can get this information from command line history to see if any of the IP addresses or ranges of subnets were used in communications. For example, it could be history from command line, or it could be real-time information from NetFlow. Right? So you can also get this information for a specific IP address if your machines were communicating with this compromised IP. So yes, this data can be used to investigate further. Just an example of this. Or you can use some more advanced use case to understand if there are some tasks, remote tasks created by WMI, which is very suspicious. And usually it's something can be done by administrators. But if you're not sure, you can also just run these asks first and then figure out what actually happened there. Yeah, not going into further details. Let's actually continue with this and see a demo. I think we have a couple of more slides here. Just a few things to know. So yeah, about the way to run an investigation and historical trace information. So we can use our cloud-based artificial intelligence to help you and make some assumptions of what's going on, right? So you collect the data, and then on the data collected, we can run analysis to understand if it's something suspicious or not, right? We can further enrich this information with in-nest threat detections, and also you can pull a snapshot if you need it from endpoint, right? So that can be used to actually run this investigation even better. And then you can run compliance and quick vulnerability scan using EDR client. So yeah, that's something we have as well, right? So of course, it's better when you have a dedicated vulnerability management software, but that's something we can do even with our EDR client. Just to have more perspective of the endpoint. And then you can also use some indicators of compromise and in the historical data that you can double check with. One more time, right? So when we run this investigation, we use our EDR and artificial intelligence to help you to understand what actually happened. How it works, right? So we can ask for some findings, right? So there's some detections, some potential threats, some anomalies, something we haven't seen previously, or some suspicious things that happened. So basically, we can run this investigation and get quite a lot of good answers for your potential questions, right? So also you can ask for some vulnerability information. So I have an example here, right? So we can get this security configuration check and get the information that potentially there's some weak security settings on this machine, right? So that's something you can use to double check what is the state of this machine, right? And also about historical search, I think that's the last slide. So historical search is something that you can run for the data that is already collected, right? So you can run through all the hash values, and you can also use a bulk import. So you can import multiple indicators for compromise at the same time for the last couple of days to figure out if this information is used or being used in some shape or form, if these files were in your environment. Okay, let's actually go to a demo. I think that's a moment most of you were waiting for, of course. Let's see if some questions are there. I don't see any at the moment. So what I'm using here is basically my tenant of cloud-based infrastructure. Let me see. So that's a common portal that we use at the moment, aus.ui.mcafee.com, and just notice that in a couple of weeks, we're going to change this URL from McAfee to Trellix. So that's going to happen quite soon, right? So yeah, of course, we're going to keep all the data, everything, but just URL is going to change for login. So yeah, of course, you need to use your user information here, and for me that's ivanyakovlev.mcafee.com. Yeah, sounds right. So login. If you have access to multiple tenants, you can choose where you're connecting to, right? So you can connect to different tenant where the data is kept, right? So usually that's for one company, you have just one tenant where all the data is collected and kept. So in this case, I'm going to switch to my team's tenant under my boss's name. And here I have access to Trellix EPO, to cloud version of EPO, to Trellix EDR, and also to Sky-High Security Console. So let's go to Trellix EPO first, so I can quickly show how it looks from management perspective, from software deployment perspective. So we have some information about what's going on there. If some machines were escalated recently, if we have some data protection incidents, yeah, so 4 of them just recently, 1 some time ago, and so on. What's the number of resolved threats, and what are the trends, right, for the past couple of days. So what I wanted to show you, so we use the same system tree, same as in all other cases with EPO. So for example, I have one of the machines with EDR software deployed. It's not communicating with me right now, so it's a bit offline right now. But yeah, what I wanted to show, we have this variety of products installed, right? So we have INS, our endpoint security platform 10.7, and then we have INS platform, INS threat prevention module. And then on top of it, we have also Envision EDR. It can be also combination of different software. So EPP platform can be from a different vendor. In this case, it's Trellix platform, which is of course much better because it's integrated with our own EDR as well. But yeah, if you use something else, it's kind of okay as well. Our EDR, one of the concepts is to stay vendor agnostic. So it's, of course, it's much better, but it's not mandatory. And then just in this subgroup that I have in my environment, in the cloud managed platform, as you saw, I have just all the recent versions of threat prevention module. I don't have ATP because, well, I want to allow a bit more things than usual, more things to run. And then EDR is something I just want to have here. Maybe I would also go with other modules, right? But in this case, it's enough, right, with just 2 of these. And then we have this always up to date mark, right? I just wanted to show that I always stay up to date with the most recent software from Trellix with just this mark, right? So all my modules will be always up to date in terms of cloud-based platform. So much easier to maintain this. So yeah, it's always done. Also may make sense to double check if there's some information on the notifications area, if I need to act on something. Trellix Insights is also extremely interesting piece that I'm going to show probably a bit later, right? So what we're going to take a look right now is monitoring, which is EDR workspace. I have this notification again about change of URL, but just don't mind it at the moment. So what we have here, right? So immediately when I switch to monitoring, so that's severity ratings that I'm looking at, right? So if I have any threats, I have immediately information about it, right? So if there are a number of low severity threats, medium severity threats, or high severity, and I have few, right? I have few here. So it's something that is most likely worth taking a look at, right? So for a couple of last days, and I go up to 30 days, I have these 3 detections, and all of them are quite interesting here, right? So you can see I have this happen on 2 machines, on Active Directory and client 1 machine, right? So in difference of like 3 minutes that happened, the same type of file was executed. So you can see immediately IP address, MAC address, if there's some text from EPO, what operating system is, This is server, this is client machine. So that's a bit, oh, both of them actually are servers. Yeah, that's interesting. So you can see also on the sequence, right? You can see the summary view here, or you can see a sequence of events. So sequential view is usually much more interesting and much more detailed, right? So you can see it all started with this executable, and then you have this suspicious executable started from this process. And then you have reg.exe also initiated. You can see command lines tools. So the suspicious, but the most suspicious. So that was another tool. You can see some buffer temporary file was created, but the most suspicious is PowerShell execution, right? So that should not happen, and it's highlighted as red. You can also click here on show all activity to see a bit more details. So we have this woodblock event from INS, from Adaptive Threat Protection. So in this case, on this machine, I have it installed, right? Opposite to what I have on my machine, my test lab machine. And also you can see file created, which is quite suspicious. File deleted, which is strange, and this operation should be blocked, right? And it would be blocked by INS, but for some reason it was allowed here. You can see a pass, and the pass is quite suspicious, so that's logs, right? So logs were tried to be deleted. So it seems like something very suspicious. And what you can do here, you can also have some actions you can take from here immediately. So for example, this unique file, right, that you have here. So when you have a highlighted link, for example, on the name of this file, on the path, on the hash values, you can click on it and then look it immediately with real-time search, right? So you can start your threat hunting on this device, on all the devices in your environment, right? So we can initiate it from here immediately, or you can still spend some time here to analyze on the time view, what was the how was the timeline of the things. So when exactly that's happened, or you can take a look on the table view to get a bit more information on all the steps taken here. And then you can also double check with the techniques, right? The techniques that were used. So you can see what we saw on the threat behavior, and then on the MITRE attack framework. So how it's related. So you can see this technique used for credential access, another one and another one, and then it's very similar to techniques used by security analysts with MITRE. So PowerShell tools were used, and that's quite suspicious. And you can check all of them. So quite suspicious. So what you can do immediately, you can maybe do it with a client machine at least. You can select this machine and then take an action. You can stop process at least, or you can send machine to quarantine. Right, so that would be done immediately. You'll get this icon, right, shown here. So the machine is isolated, it's not communicating with anyone. So yeah, something that you can do immediately from here. But yeah, maybe need to investigate a bit further. So what you can do, you can take action here and create investigation. So when you create this investigation, right, as I mentioned previously, so we use our artificial intelligence engine to create investigation, to run analysis with our investigator engine that is working on underneath this technology. So this moment on, we create a new investigation in the list. In this case, we'll keep information for quite a long time, right? So as long as you need it, it can be kept for a year or more, right? So you can keep this information. Let me check if I have any of them. Yeah, maybe this one, just as a quick reference. So you can see we have about 260 artifacts, and then we limit this to kind of 7 key findings, right? So we have some summary, of course, here. So what we saw, so what machine was affected, and so on. And then we have this investigation guides, right, with some answered questions for this. right? You can see all questions or only most important ones, and then you can also switch to a graph view to get the better visibility over all the things that were interacted here with, right? So you can see this device, and that's just one device in this case. You can see what operating system. So yeah, some source information and so on. Some notice if you put it already. Yeah, not too many information on this one. Yeah, but if it's file, for example, you can also see some hashes, some hash values, reputation if it's available, right? So certutil is fine, right? It's part of operating system, and reputation is clean, but it was used by something else, right? You can see this process was started, which is still fine, but these communications were internal in this case, and target IP is a bit suspicious, I would say. And then you can see this internal IP address, like 3 of them were used. So you can go a bit further and get more information on what happened, right? So for example, these dual purpose tools were used. So all the tools from Windows, certutil, rec.exe, control.exe, sc, and so on. So that's information you can use for your investigations. Yeah, kind of a brief summary. It could be even more information, and you can actually request more information from it if you get, for example, endpoint snapshot from this machine, or you can also request, for example, some extra information from historical view, some web control events, get some convictions from this device from EPO, right? So you can communicate with EPO. You can also send to quarantine from here. But let's see the historical view. So basically we're switching to a different section of our console to device search, right? So in this device search, we are looking for this device and for 2 days before and 2 days after this situation happened. So yeah, about a week ago or so. So basically here we have all the artifacts, everything collected for that Windows scope. You can see that's a lot of process activities, right? You can see, for example, when it happened, who did it, some IDs of this process, parent ID name, process name, some embedded file names, which is quite important to figure out what was happening there. You can also search through these indicators, and also there are a variety of different artifacts. You can see we collected about 41,000 artifacts for this time, and most of it was executable files, right? So when you change a file, copy a file, so all these activities will be recorded by the system. Yeah, and also quite interesting would be some comments, right? So you can see some CLI and script content. So for example, PowerShell script was used multiple times. Yeah, most of this is PowerShell activities. And also what I wanted to highlight is alerts, right? So we have quite a lot of detections during that time, right? So that's all the kind of separate single alerts or detections, and we have association with tactics and techniques user. But from all of those detections, not a lot of them are quite important, so only few of them you can see. And then for alerts, we have much more severe things highlighted to you. And then when we have something in red here, if you found something bad, so we send it to a monitoring part, right? So that's how we have these alerts coming to the monitoring to highlight the most important things. Okay. Also, what we have, yeah, also we were talking about this threat hunting. So that would be a real-time search, right? So it can be kind of something you just built up, or if you have some saved queries, you can run it again, right? So for example, you were looking for some file name for some registry key, for any hash information. So you can save your search, or you just run new one, right? So some easy ones would be, I know, what was it, like host info, for example, just to see what systems are responding. I don't think we have too many systems connected right now, but with host info command, you can see all the hosts, right? So all the hosts responding to you. Okay, I have actually quite a number of them. So I have these 3 machines that are online at the moment, and they're responding to me, right? So Active Directory, client machine, and some Linux machine as well with Ubuntu. So I have these systems just answering immediately. And what we can do, we can actually double check from monitoring. We can see if same files are persistent on those machines. Let's see, for example, this one with ugly name. Let's go to it. So this one, 9E, 9U, something. Let's select this one and actually run a query using this on all the devices, right? So we're looking for this on all the devices. So basically we have this line built up automatically for us, host info, host name, IP address, and so on, right? So that would be a structure of an answer that we're looking for. So we're looking for a process name that is called this way with this executable in mind. Most likely that's random name, but yeah, still what we want to do here, we want to build up information in these columns, right? Process name, user, hash information, parent name, and so on all the systems connected. And I know that I have 3 machines responding to me. So if any of them has this process name, so we'll have information coming back. And then what we can do, we can select them and then apply our actions immediately from here. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Okay. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't think we have this
still good
files responding. Okay, so what else? Yeah, well, I can quickly show also historical search information. So yeah, that's quite interesting as well. So what we can do, we can look for some indicators of compromise, right? So if you have IOC, or if you want to import a number of them at the same time from file or directly, you can look for these indicators in the all historical data collected, right? So if you have some interesting hash, so yeah, let's see some of them. So yeah, let's take this one, sysmon.exe. Yeah, looks interesting enough. Let's copy this one, and then on the historical, on the device search level, was it device search? No, it was historical search. Let's switch to historical search. So let's see, MD5 equals this one. Yeah, quite straightforward. Let's see if we have this information. Yeah, probably 4 hours would be not right time frame, but let's see what we'll get. If we have any machines responding, or if we have machines with this hash in the log value. Okay, so as you can see, we have some of these files. All of them were on the same device, client 1. So for all of them, and you can see file was created, deleted, and attribute changed. So we can get kind of more information on all of them. Attribute change, file creation date. So when exactly that's happened, parent process name, right? sysmon.exe from desktop, some more hash values, and file path is temporary, right? So that's a bit suspicious. Yeah, so you can file all the hashes on all the connected machines, right? So that could be done quite fast and efficiently. You can see it was done basically today, right? About 2 hours ago from me. So yeah, that's a new file and definitely something we need to double check with. And then we can use a bit more interaction here to look for device details or for historical data on this device again. Okay, yeah, that's quite a lot of things that we covered here. Maybe I can also quickly mention these collectors. So we have a number of collectors pre-built about pretty much most of the things on the endpoint level, network flow, information, processes, services, software, startup tools. And then you can also build up your own as well, right? So we can use, you can use Visual Basic script, Python or PowerShell, or just a plain CLI command. So you can build up your own script to collect more information and to have some type of unique reaction if you need it as some of the processes in your environment, in your SOC. So that could be just not file removal, but yeah, something else. You can execute some type of a script also using those 3 or 4 options. So CLI command, Visual Basic, Python, and PowerShell. Okay, so what I wanted to show you as well is insights, right? So I have a bit of slides about it, but it's better to see one time than not. So yeah, what we have here, right? So that can be extension in a policy orchestrator, on-prem version or cloud service. And what we have here is analysis of your security posture, right? So your security rating here, for example, in my case, it's not so good, right? So that's could be better. It's from 100, that's just 12, because I have 2 recommendations to update. So some systems are not updated and quite a lot. 11 systems not updated. 6 of them can be actually breached with malicious campaigns, right? So we know exactly. So if we want to update these 6 machines, they can be breached with recent malicious campaigns. So that's definitely something we need to change, right? And we can take actions straight away from here. So some zero-day protection is not enough in these machines. So for example, real-time client not compliant on 7 of them. Real protect is the name of our machine learning engine. So some scan configuration is not right. It's not compliant with our security requirement. So yeah, it seems like very bad situation. Enhanced remediation is not enabled on 7 machines. Horrible, just horrible. And also there's some things we can improve on the adaptive threat protection options. So yeah, our zero-day protection is not really great in this example, and a lot of issues there with configuration. But actually, we have quite good posture from this. So at least something, is enabled. And also, very bad situation is that we have a high severity threat on 1 machine, right? So we have very low rating immediately because of this. We need to take actions. We need to remove any type of threat from there. And we have also integration with cloud here, which is CASB, Cloud Security Broker from SkyHigh, which is now a dedicated cloud-based company for cloud security. Well, cloud-based, I mean, they're here in the same office, somewhere on the back. If you have very good eyes, maybe you can notice one of them. So we have this analysis, right? We have this analysis on the endpoint machines, first of all. So how secure your machines are comparing with malicious campaigns. And we have very long list. We started with like 100 of these malicious campaigns, and now we have 2,200, well, close to it. So a number of them are high severity, we have some medium severity and low severity as well. And so we can see on some last detected threats or just last added by our analytics, right? So you can see some not so critical systems were added recently, and of course you can change to a, I know, let's put Armenia, for example, as a country and sector. I know, agriculture. Why not? So we have this information about some threats. So worldwide, we see some devices are getting infected, but not too much. Just one device impacted per 1 million devices. So that's a list of most recent ones. Right? It could be some APT group weaponizing open source software, which is quite suspicious. You can look for some details, description of it. If we have any detections on our machines, unresolved or resolved, so what packages would be enough to have it here added. You can see in which countries we have this detection. So Turkey is probably most infected at the moment. And what we have here, we have these indicators of compromise. And if you have a detection, it would be highlighted in red, right? And also you can see if there are some playbooks available to improve your security situation, or if you have some countermeasures for this one.
Let's do something. Sorry for interrupt. Would
Yeah,
you
we have a
please
question.
just check the agriculture to banks?
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't
This
like
is more
agricultural. I know I am probably hungry a bit, so it was my choice.
We love banks and wines. So if you have some, you can add.
Let's put some
Banks.
banking
Let's do
sector.
banking. Yeah.
And for example, in this case, when we have sort by last detected, right, not just last added, not severity, you can also switch to a pre-relevance for a country level, industry level, or well, worldwide is probably not too much. It's just too generic. So here I have actually some detections, right? So some of my campaigns, some of these campaigns actually happened in my environments. So some of the machines I have infected, and even 4 in this case, right? So we see this one is quite important to protect against, because we see in banking sector, it's really happening, right? It's really happening. So for example, this one, it's global, it's across the whole world, but it's really critical. For example, in this case, in Kazakhstan, in Turkey as well, Italy as well. So that would be kind of very critical if it's happening in your region. Let's see some details on this one. So we have this kind of global prevalence, and you have observed companies, right, in the top, some sectors as well. And the most important would be some description, some links that you can utilize. Right? So we have some tool profile descriptions here, which could be quite efficient, right, to use as a links or hyperlinks in the same system. Then you can see this indicator actually did trigger, right? So that's very important to double check. For example, in EDR, if your machines are using this, are still there, still relevant. And also we can check with more information to build up a better security, right? So for example, this some countermeasures that we can recommend to improve fighting with these malicious techniques by sorted by attack MITRE framework, right? So when you have a countermeasure available, it's highlighted as white, right? So for example, you can implement a better protection against PowerShell if you have it in place but not active yet, and if you have it completed, so it would be highlighted as green, right, as a probably good achievement. Yeah, I think more upcoming, but yeah, we have some really good countermeasures available in the systems already. And then your environment, right? So that's what we care mostly. Yeah, what's going on? Come on. Do I have internet?
Just no,
yeah,
no. It's just refreshing.
Okay, that's good. Still online. Yeah, so that was dark side. This one, dark side. Oh no. Which one was it? I set again, set back to my default criteria. So let's go back to what we had selected, Armenia and banking, and last detected. Okay, so that was this dark side ransomware. Was it? Yeah, I think this was that one we were looking for. So what I wanted to show you, your environment, right? So that's most important, of course, right? So if you have any endpoint machines active, right? So in my case, I had 3 of them, but they were deleted from the system. Oh, come on. So what we can see there, right? If any of the systems are still affected, and if some insufficient coverage on their machines, on those machines is still there, and if we can improve the situation, let's go in. I set again, set back to default. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. That's new. Yeah, so basically that would be details about the specific situation. So this exposed devices is what we are looking for. And then if we have some devices with insufficient coverage, so we can sort out by those devices as well, right? So we can see some of these machines are already deleted. So agent was deleted, it's not longer available, but few of them are still here, right? And you have even some tags from EPO saying this server actually was escalated. And because we have server client software on both of them, even on client, right? So we have it escalated as a server. Yeah, when last communication was done, if some detections were happening there. And you can see what exactly events, right? What events were there. You can see much more detailed information. You can see some processes trace. Okay, actually there's something new. I haven't seen it myself. Let's see if we have this available in the system. Ooh, it's beautiful, right? So we have this information available with just Trellix Insights. So we can pull this information from this specific event and see in the standard view. So what actually was used to create this process, this file, certutils, then conhost, and conhost was used to exit, right? To exit process. Okay, and what about sequence view? Okay, so that's how that's happening, right? So on the timeline, you can see when it was active. So that's a group of things. So this buffer temp file, 2 of them actually, quite similar. So yeah, so you can see the whole chain of events, and so that's when you can actually implement some threat hunting skills and look for some of this content, for these files, for these processes. Are they still available if they're malicious, if they're happening right now, right? So looking at this suspicious behavior. Okay, and you can also export this information to use it in different systems. So for example, you can switch over to EDR, right? So for example, here in this case, that would be, see, I think that would be based on a malicious campaign or threat level, right? So if you have some threats that are happening in your environment, for example, this FTAM Trojan, and we have this indicator, I think what we can do, no, not from this, from your environment. So if we have this machine, right, we can select it and switch over to that, to the same view in EDR workspace. But yeah, I think it's not available because in this test environment, I don't have too many persistent machines. So yeah, that's a few things and a few details on Trellix Insights. Okay, we've done with that. So let's see, we have some questions or comments. Let's see if we have it in chat. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's continue. Good. So let's see. So basically, what we have with Insights, right? So we have this threat readiness, right? So we answering these questions So are you exactly at the risk right now, right? So what would be a priority if you have something from news headlines active right now in your environment? So basically, instead of just wondering, you have exact answers right now. As long as you have endpoint machines with in-app software installed, you can collect this telemetry and use this telemetry for your beneficial, for your benefits. So are you susceptible? So will your protections hold, right? So do you have enough protection, or you need to improve something? And what do you need to change? What do you need to change to be protected, right? So that's exactly these countermeasures that you can act. So basically, instead of acting from the moment when you are hit, we can do it even in proactive approach, and at the stage when attack was just planning, right? So we can just get ahead of adversaries and implement these actions as fast as possible, right? So we can be proactive and stay out of threats. We can use this predictive assessment of security posture, right, to analyze what attack scenarios can be performed against you and how to prepare your environment against it, right? So how to stay secured. What could be security actions that we can prescribe in advance, right? So that's really a great way to improve your security. Okay, so a few things. So how much time do we have? We don't have any time, don't we? Yeah, probably last few things that I wanted to very quickly mention is that we have a number of really good integrations right now, right, with our EDR. So we can integrate with cloud-based e-policy orchestrator, with on-premise e-policy orchestrator. We have a good level of integration with our endpoint protection platform with EPP. Also, we have Trellix Insights as a great way to correlate data with campaign information, right? So what indicators are we looking for? What countermeasures we can use, and what playbooks can be applied in our environment. Then it's integration with reputation server, with your local reputation, and with global reputation as well. You can integrate and use the data from our sandbox, Trellix Intelligence Sandbox, or ATD, that it used to be called. We can also integrate with ESM or Helix, two type of SIEM platforms we have now as a Trellix. One is coming from McAfee, and one is coming from FireEye. One is 100% cloud-based, and another one is a hybrid or mostly on-prem, I would say. And how exactly we can improve it? Of course, XDR. XDR is an answer, extended detection and response, when we can combine things together to improve it, right? So, of course, EDR is a critical building component of it, right? So first of all, we have this convergence of technologies with EPP and EDR together, coming as a source of data, probably the most important source to XDR, then data from network, from email, from cloud, from different systems, right? So that would be a part of the what we have in XDR. But another important part is SIEM information. SIEM information also, it could be SOAR capabilities, orchestration and operations that we can do, and automations as well. We can kind of add as a capabilities in XDR console, and UBA can be also something from analytics perspective that can be combined together in XDR view, right? So that's exactly where we're going for. And even now we have some really good building blocks for this concept, for this design. So what we can add from standard approach from on-prem environment, endpoint information, network information, email, and data, right? And then we can use a cloud part of it as well, right? From EDR segment or NDR, network detection response, from email, from cloud as well, and data. So yeah, so that's where we're going for, right? So most of the SOCs, they are in some type of transition at the moment. to get it, also with cloud in mind, or mostly with endpoint in the moment. But yeah, that's something where we're going for, that's for sure. And XDR can make it much easier. So yeah, just listen for more updates to come with a unified, with a single console for everything we have. But yeah, that's still on the way. Okay, so any other things? Okay, so we have most important part of the day is quiz. So let's see. So we have some really nice prizes for you. So let me announce it first. So for first question, we have a nice board game here. For second one is some Redmi buds, right? So you have your headphones, wireless. So that would be for second question. Then the most challenging and most rewarding question would be third one with your smart band, with your smartwatch. And then fourth one would be relatively relaxing with just some sweets. Oh, no, it's another board game. Yeah? It is another board game. I don't think it's a good idea to eat it. Probably I am a bit too hungry at the moment to think about something else. So yeah, we have 4 questions ahead. So of course, the faster you are, the better chances you have. So just get prepared. So to put your answers in the chat. So I will have a question and then just put it as fast as possible into chat, right? So the first one with the right answer will be getting the prize of board game for the first one, for the first challenge. So let's start. Are you ready? Let's do this. So first question. What does acronym EPP stand for? So this one is super easy. Just show how fast can you type. Okay, I don't see any answers so far. Is it hard? It's not hard. Come on, you can Google it. True. Okay. We have number of answers. We have 2 answers, and all of them are perfect. Cool. So yeah, we have 2 answers. I'm not sure how exactly. I think one was a bit faster. I think Felix was just a tiny bit faster.
Congratulations, Felix.
Felix was sending his response to hosts and panelists, which is totally fine, but maybe not everyone will see and have some concerns. So someone was actually answering, but Georgi also was correct. Okay, so yes, that's absolutely a correct answer. Endpoint protection platform. So EPP is a new term from Gartner. We have a lot of different acronyms, and yeah, the more the better. Good stuff. So second one, I think this one is more rewarding, right? So as you remember, I don't really remember what was it, but something very good. So let's go with the second question. So same way, just type it to chat. You can send it to host and panelists or to everyone. Doesn't really matter. We still see it. So second question. What is the name of the major Trellix event for customers and partners? It just happened about a month ago. It's a bit more challenging. You need to really be in line with Trellix news. I have a bit of hint. Previously, it was called Envision. No, what was the name? I don't remember. McAfee Empower, it was called. Now we have a new name for this event. So come on, you can do it. We have a really nice. Oh yeah, we have a good answer. So yeah, Nicholas just answered totally right. expand partner summit. So that's 100% right. So yeah, we have our second winner.
Great. Nicholas, we send you your last gift with Georgi. He will deliver it to you, and we'll send you the second one as well. Thank you for participating.
Well done, well done. So get ready to the third one. This one is the best price. I don't remember. I think it was something very, very good. Oh, the smartwatch. So
Smartwatch.
let's get ready. Let's get ready. Put your fingers on a keyboard and get prepared. So our third question is how the artificial intelligence AI within Trellix EDR is named. So this one is a bit challenging. It could be variations, but the first part is what we want to get as an answer from you. It's really challenging, but you need to fight for it to get a really nice price. I have also a bit of a hint. It used to be a dedicated product, right? So it was 100% dedicated product when it just arrived first time, about 4 years ago, I think. And then it was integrated as a part of EDR platform to Envision EDR. So that's something we were talking today quite a bit about our artificial intelligence within EDR, Trellix EDR. It was mentioned multiple times today. I know it's hard. It's really hard. But at least try.
Have you prepared some options for answers like ABC?
Oh, no options, no options. It would be too easy. It's a good try, not right. Unfortunately, no. Zurab, really good idea, but no. So what we'll want you to answer is kind of part of our console. So it is responsible for this kind of help to you, kind of answers that you get from the system when you run this analysis. So anyone can be a winner now if you were listening.
Maybe you type the answers like ABC, some different answers.
No. Instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you again the slide with prizes.
Okay.
So let me show you again this beautiful slide with prizes. Remember this one. Okay, back to question. It's not so hard, but yeah, just real protection. Very, very close, very close. It's really good answer, but it's machine learning that is built in our EVP platform, in our ENS, Trellix next generation endpoint protection. Well, of course it's next generation, but not the actual answer. Really, really good, very close, very close. So just try to remember, right? So that's actual part of our EDR workspace that is used to run analysis, very in-depth analysis with some guided answers that we have for you. So what I want you to answer is how it's called, basically. And it was previously a dedicated platform, dedicated product that was kind of standalone for a few years, I think. At least 1 year it was standalone, and then it was integrated within our EDR. Is it too hard? Is it? we just have to take it for myself, I know. This beautiful prize. Okay, I can probably put some answers, but yeah, let me type some of them. Oh, we have it. We have a winner. We have a winner. Yura Alexanyan. I think you are right. You are right. So it's not exactly the name of it, but it's close enough. It's close enough because the actual name is investigator or investigation engine, right? So that's exactly what I was looking for. So investigate. So that's close enough. I was looking for at least this first part, right? First part of this investigation. So that's really good guess and really nice answer. Well done. My congratulations. And then for the last question, we have very easy one. You don't even have to think. Just type as fast as possible. So get prepared. So our last question here is, what does acronym XDR stand for? So just type. There could be a bit of variation on the answer, but usually that's quite same term in the industry. Yes. We have one. We have a number of answers. Perfect answers. So at least 3 answers are 100% correct. And I think first one was who was it? I think Raphael was first for me. But Georgi, Nicholas, and Garik, you're all right. You're all 100% correct. But it was extended detection response. But it was another board game. Yeah, I think it was another board game. That is look like sweets, some chocolate. Don't eat it, please. Okay, perfect. So I think that's a conclusion of our day today. I think we're again a bit later than we're supposed to, but hopefully the content was interesting for you. You heard something new about security operations in general and Trellix in particular. And very good answers. Very close attempts. Some challenging questions, but very well done. Okay, do we have anything for a conclusion? I mean, probably the best conclusion we have is that if you have any questions, or if you want to have a demo, or if you want to have hands-on experience with any of our solutions, so reach out to our team. So yeah, that would be probably an idea for today. And also next time, in a week time, I think next Tuesday, we'll have one more session. I think it would be the final one for this series of workshops. It would be dedicated to data protection. So yeah, bear with us, and yeah, more good content is coming.
Thank you guys for participation, and we're waiting for you on our DLP session next week, as Ivan mentioned. Congratulations to all winners. We will provide you the gifts. So thank you one more time. Have a nice rest of the day, and good luck to you all. Thank you. Ivan Jan, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. It was very useful.